In the next 60 minutes, you're on Newsnight. Ghana's fuel security may be threatened as a crucial oil checkpoint. The Strait of Hormuz faces potential closure due to tensions between Israel and Iran. We'll hear from government, which says there is no immediate cause for concern. But for how long?
Enough reserves to take us between 2 to 3 months.
We are confident that we wouldn't have any problem with supply disruptions at all.
Also tonight, fresh revelations as Tema Oil Refinery's acting managing director says former managers failed to audit the accounts of the company for as long as since 2019, as TOR's debt hits a staggering $517 million.
So the debt that we came to meet, which is undergoing verification, was 517 million United States dollars as at close of December 2024.
And in business, some Ghanaian businesses plying their trade in Israel expressed concern about the potential increase in freight charges due to ongoing conflicts in the Middle East.
And in sports, Accra Hearts of Oak confirms $70,000 transfer saga with New Dubiase is being resolved.
You want to stay with us, plus your views and comments all here on Newsnight 0551111 So live here on Newsnight. It's on Joy 99.7 FM, and pretty sure you've been following the developments within the New Patriotic Party. Today, a significant number of MMDCEs met with the former vice president and pledged their support to him. That has sparked a bit of controversy within the rank of the NPP, because the other side of the what is now shaping out to be a keenly contested primary in prospect in 2027 are reacting to that, and already significant exchanges have now been exchanged between the two sides. And you've heard already the sides of Canada, Japan. We've also been hearing from Brandon Champong on the back of the meeting today, where 250 former MMDCEs say they endorse former Vice President Dr. Bawumia. And before today's meeting, though, some of them had met Kennedy Japan, who is also vying to lead the party into the 2028 elections, except that the leadership of the MMDCEs were clear to state that, yes, they met Kennedy Japan, but they never endorsed him.
Invited all MMDCEs. I was there myself, but we did not show support. His assertion that over 250 came to endorse him is false. Today, Chief, you have asked a question. Today, we are reading a statement on behalf of all of us. There was no statement read at Kennedy Japan's meeting with us. He spoke, we wined, we dined, and we left. Today, we are showing our support with a statement. Thank you.
We have seen that in the history of MPP, no presidential candidate has ever come and won in the first trials. We see the former President J. Okufor came with his first trial. Yes, so we are looking at the trend of events of our party. Okay. Okay, we said we are looking at the trend of events of our party. You see, former J. Okufor contested in 1996 and lost to J.J. Rawlings. Then he came back, we presented him again in 2000, and he won. Former President Kufuor came with 38%, but he was able to defeat the former Vice President Atta Mills in 2000 to win election for the New Patriotic Party. His Excellency Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo also came and contested 3 times before the people of Ghana gave him the mandate to become the president of the country. Now, we know His Excellency Alhaji Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia has been marketed very well before in the country. Every corner, every nook and cranny of this country, you can find Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia there. And we think that the first attempt that he went and he did not make it, the second attempt will be a very good one.
A few of the MMDCs who met Dr. Bawumia today earlier today. I want to bring in the party's Deputy General Secretary who joins us on the line right now, and that is Mr. Mohammed. Grateful that you could join me here on Newsnight, Haruna. So what's the party's view on what is happening already? Shortly after you announced the date for the primaries next year, as you can see, campaign has gone into full swing. Is this something that the party accepts that will happen, or your rules still forbid what is happening?
Thank you very much, Ivan. Good evening good evening to your charity listeners. It's very unfortunate that the proportion at which this is happening is something that the party is very worried. The party had guidelines in respect to how campaigns and electionary process will take. Even though after the National Council's decision to announce a date for the presidential primaries, we expect that people will be so excited and be carried away. But the level at which the proportion of which is going, the party certainly is worried about some of these particular instances. And I can assure you that after that these issues have begun coming for the past 2 days, the leadership has started engaging certain superstructures of the party to be able to water down some of these particular instances. And it also goes in to agree with our positions that holding an early conference to elect a flag bearer, it is something that is going to de-escalate some of these particular animosity and grief issues and negative reportage within the media cycle. We have to hurriedly get these things done. So we are worried, but we are also preparing some solutions to be able to cap some of these particular happening.
And if rules have been breached, party guidelines have been breached, is the party going to crack the whip then?
Yes, like I said, the party is engaging. You know, there are so many ways of cracking the whip when people have committed certain acts in the first instance. We have done some particular engagement. But certainly, if it is getting out of hand at some point in time, the party leadership will certainly crack the whip.
Which specific aspects of the campaigning so far would you say expressly violates the guidelines that you issued sometime back this year?
It's an open campaign when nominations are not open.
And do you consider the MMDCs, 250 of them, meeting Bawumia and declaring their support for him open campaigning?
The MMDCs are not party officers and they are not part of the delegate system yet. So we cannot apportion them there. And then also with the fact that Dr. Bawumia did not invite them, they went there personally voluntarily by themselves. But they are not part of the people that we have issued to cover because they are not party officers and they are not delegates at the moment.
I mean, do you accept, though, that once immediately you announce a date for the primary, you, in essence, indirectly blew the whistle for the start of the campaigning?
I can assure you that by next month, by the close of next month, we will certainly open the nominations for persons interested to contest for the presidential primaries to pick up nominations and file.
By the end of July, you say?
Yes, by the end of July, after we are done with the conference.
At which point now, once you pick up the form, you are now allowed to fully campaign?
Yes, at which point you would be allowed to fully campaign. But the General Secretary, under his hand, will issue a statement for the opening of nomination and close of nomination.
I mean, how does the party react to the accusation that this decision that was taken to have the presidential primaries first before you begin the process of electing the rest of the leadership from the branch constituency regional is just handing advantage to Dr. Bawumia?
I don't know the angle at which they are taking their conversation, but it is not a law and it is not a constitutional fact that we should elect presidential candidate first. We should elect polling station first before we come and do a presidential primaries. A presidential primaries is a stand-alone elections from those particular structures of the party. The structure of the party does not include the presidential primaries. So what happens when you have to conduct any elections within the structure of the party is for you to look at, first question is to ask yourself whether you have the delegates to conduct that particular election. So whether they have their tenure of office expired or not. So in checking these particular two questions that I've asked, there are delegates to those elections in all elections for flag bearer and also even the polling station and other structures of the party. So it is not a jump. It is not a breach of procedure, and it was also a breach of constitution. It is just a reinforcement of the party's high hierarchy decision of organizing an election, of which the presidential primary is a stand-alone election and can be conducted at any point in time, provided that the National Council has exercised their duty in Article 13(1) of the party's constitution.
Haruna, thank you very much. I want to bring in Senior Lecturer, Political Science Department, University of Ghana, Dr. Asasante, to the conversation now. Dr. Asasante, 250 from our MMDC is declaring support for Dr. Bawumia. How significant is that in the race to lead the party?
It is nothing. I mean, you can have all people trooping to his house. If indeed the party want to vote for him, they will vote for him. If they want to reject him, they will reject him. We saw members of parliament who rooted for Dr. Bawumia, and we saw happening in 2024. That said, I am disappointed in the party, which had earlier on issued, an edict saying that campaign should not go on and whatnot. What are we seeing now? And what is the party doing? I was listening to my friend, Mr. Haruna, the question you posed to him, which he struggled to answer. Because I know that all this while, any time that a party issue a statement talking about its rules and all that, they themselves are not ready to enforce them. So I know that it was not going to work. And that is why now the floodgate is open and we are seeing what is going on. And they are saying that they are worried. They are not worried, because if they are worried, in the first place, anybody who crosses the line will see sanction. But they are afraid to sanction anybody. So they should spare us that and let us know that the floodgate is open and allow everybody to compete so that they can have the contest. My worry is that some of these things create lasting pain within the hearts of many, and they find expression during election. And that is what the party must guard against if they really want to win power.
Thank you very much, Dr. Sasante. So, live here on Newsnight is on Joy 99.7 FM. You find the details of this particular story across our many social media platforms. Tonight, though, Ghana's fuel security is under scrutiny due to the country's high monthly petrol consumption of over 240 million litres, coupled with escalating tensions between Iran and Israel. The conflict now in its 10th day has Iranian lawmakers pushing for the closure of that vital Strait of Hormuz, sparking fears of potential global fuel disruptions that will push prices up. Government has already suspended the planned 1 cedi fuel levy increase amid concerns of rising prices. Crude oil currently trades at $74 a barrel, but that stability may not last. Still, the Energy Ministry insists there's no immediate cause for alarm, claiming fuel stockpiles are sufficient. To remember that the president himself had directed the energy and the finance ministers to come up with a model to mitigate any potential impact if this conflict gets protracted. Now, spokesperson for the Energy Ministry, Richmond Roxy, says steps are currently being taken to cushion consumers if the price spike.
Wells in the country to ensure that in the immediate term we don't have any shortage of fuel on the local market. We have enough reserves to take us between 2 to 3 months. If you look at what BOST has and also what the BDCs also have. So one, we have enough reserves. And number two, whether or not government will take a decision cushion consumers using the price stabilization levy, for example, will depend on the impact.
Well, the National Petroleum Authority says Ghana has sufficient petrol and diesel reserves to last the country at least 2 months. Eduji Tamaklo is the CEO of NPA.
So I can assure the good people of Ghana that currently, as we speak, we have enough stock or reserve to last us beyond 2 months. Beyond 2 months. Yes. And with all efforts, we are confident that we wouldn't have any problem with supply disruptions at all. We have for petrol, that's almost over 200 million liters of petrol in the country. When you look at diesel, we have in excess of 150 million liters. So these are enough stock that can last the country for a long time.
But how much fuel do we actually consume in the country on a monthly basis, and will that be enough to last us the 2 months that the MPA boss is talking about? My colleague Michael Shally has been poring over the data and joins me in the studio with more on this. Michael, how much fuel do we currently consume? Do we know how much fuel cover do we have now?
So, Evans, what we know is that, at least from the Ghana Statistical Service, the data they've been giving us for 2024, it says that per month, on an average, you need around 216, or be consumed 260 million liters of petrol in 2024. For diesel, it tells us that we consume at least 194 million liters of diesel. Now, if you come into 2025, although data may not be enough to cover all of that, MPA has given us something to ponder over. It tells us that in the last 4 months, that is between January and April 2025, January we consumed around 272 million liters of petrol. And again, the least you've consumed the last first quarter will be in February, when we consumed 229 million liters of petrol. Now, in the last 4 months, what we know from that data on the NPA website is that we consumed totally 993 million liters of petrol. If you do the simple calculation and just break down by 4 months, which will give you how much we actually do in a month, that will bring us to around averagely 248 million liters of petrol per month for the first quarter of 2025, and this is just for petrol. If you come to diesel, we are doing around 219 million liters of diesel per month for the first quarter of 2025. And again, this data, as we have it, tallies with what the OMC data, also which sitting on the MPA website this evening, Evans.
And thank you very much. So there are questions about the 2 months claim, whether or not the 200 million liters of petrol will be enough to last us that long, if indeed the prices spike and we have to rely on our own reserves until prices stabilize again. And just as we've been speaking about this, the conflict appears to be escalating. There's no end in sight, because Iran has now launched missiles at a U.S. air base in Qatar in response to strikes on its nuclear sites. On Saturday, the U.S. has been warning Iran not to do that because they will pay. Qatar has confirmed that the attacks on the U.S.-run Al-Deib base, calling it a flagrant violation, says it reserves the right to respond directly. It adds all the missiles were intercepted and there are no reports of casualties. The country has temporarily, as we know, closed its airspace, and U.S. and U.K. citizens have been advised to shelter in place. In Washington, though, Donald Trump and defense officials are holding a Situation Room meeting 2 days after the U.S. launched massive strikes against 3 nuclear facilities inside Iran. It comes as Israel has also been targeting Tehran with unprecedented force, including attacks on access routes to the Fordo nuclear sites and the Evin prison. The main concern now, as you know, is that Iran may be considering the closure of that Strait of Hormuz, which can become a major challenge for countries like Ghana, because we rely so heavily on imported finished products that could push prices up. I want to bring in right now Richmond Roxing, spokesperson and head of communications at the Energy Ministry. Thank you very much, Roxing, for your time here on Newsnight. I recall that the president last weekend directed the energy minister and the finance ministers to come up with a model that will mitigate the impact on all of us should the conflict last longer than at the time it was anticipated. It's become protracted as we speak tonight. Do we know yet what the plan is? Have your minister and that of the finance minister come up with a plan yet, and what does it look like?
Good evening, Evans, and good evening to your cherished listeners. Yes, His Excellency the President directed the Minister of Energy and Green Transition, as well as the Minister of Finance, to take a close look at what's happening on the global market, on the international market, to ensure that the gains that have been made from January to June this month, when it comes to fuel prices, are not eroded. You would recall that in January, the exchange rate was around 17 Ghana cedis. As we speak, it's around 10.2 Ghana cedi to a dollar, which has had a significant impact on the price of fuel on the local market. As we speak, average prices will be around 10 to 11 Ghana cedis per liter, depending on where you purchase it. And the president has said that the ministers to take a close look at it. The ministers have engaged. They continue to engage. The primary responsibility now is to keep monitoring the situation. As at the time the conflict started, average crude prices were around $64, $65. By the next 2 days, they have risen by about 7%, about $74 per barrel, using the Brent benchmark. And as we speak today, it's hovering around 80. The number of measures that the ministers have put in place when it comes to work plan, depending on what happens on the international market, the government will proceed with the option that it would deem ideal in order to protect the consumer.
What are these options?
There are a number of them. One of them would be the price stabilization. You know that if you look at the law that created that, the primary responsibility of that is to stabilize prices for consumers. When prices are going up, this price stabilization is supposed to cushion consumers from price hikes on the international market. So that option is available when it comes to the application of that. There are a number of levies, margins on the price build-up. The government will take a look at it and then from time to time review it in order to ensure that the people of Ghana are still paying lower price of fuel and are not hit by what's on the international market.
And it also comes back to the reserves that we have, because if you have enough reserves, we can use that and hope for stabilization down the line, so you don't have to fall on the price stabilization levy, for example. Are we clear in our minds that we have enough reserves in stock to last us at least 2 months?
Yes, Evans, what it is that for you to have very quality fuels, every 90 days you are supposed to turn the products that you have around. So even if you have strategic fuels, by 90 days you need to recycle it and you need to sell it to the market or replace it in order to make sure that the quality is still intact. So yes, as we speak, we have enough reserves within the period that can cushion us. Also, the government is looking at working together with BDCs to ensure that at all mature times you have some minimum storage of fuel, which will also help as a buffer in case we have situations of the nature that we are currently experiencing. So yes, to answer your question, we have enough fuel, but the government strategic stock program will still run, and this time around will also include the private sector or the BDCs to ensure that at all mature times, together with what the state has, which falls directly in the mandate of BOS, that's the Bulk Oil Storage and Transportation Limited, the private sector will also support government.
Thank you very much. And that there is Richmond Roxing, spokesperson and head of communications at the Energy Ministry. And let's stay on the subject of energy, because the new management of the TOR oil refinery has revealed that former managers of the company failed to audit the books of the company. They've done so since 2019. This is according to the acting managing director of the company, Edmond Combat. Now, he made this disclosure to the Energy Committee of Parliament during a retreat in the Eastern region. First, here's a wrap of events by James Abeji.
The Energy Committee of Parliament continued its engagement with the various state departments and agencies operating under the Energy Ministry. Entities including Ghana Gas, Petroleum Hub Development Corporation, BOST, and the TOR Oil Refinery all appeared before the committee on Sunday. The TOR Oil Refinery, TOR, for instance, made a shocking revelation to the committee when it says previous managers have failed to audit the books of the company since 2019.
For the past 6 years, the refinery has not had audited accounts since 2019. So it's now that we've brought external auditors and they are busily working. And we are hoping that by next month we'll have all the 6 audited accounts that we'll present to SIGA and also give copies to members of the committee.
The CEO, Edmond Combat, said the new management is revamping the facility to begin full operation by October 2025 to process at least 60% of Ghana's crude oil.
We spend $400 million every month importing refined petroleum products. When TOR is running, we will need less than 60% of that money to import refined petroleum product because our plate capacity is 45,000 barrels. And we recently installed a new furnace. With that new furnace, we can actually do 60,000 barrels. And nationally, we consume about 100,000 barrels per stream day, every single day. So we can do between 45 to 60% if the refinery is up.
Providing an update on the work of the Petroleum Hub Development Corporation, Chief Executive Officer Dr. Tony Obing said they have already signed a memorandum of understanding with a number of international partners to begin work. The corporation, however, need an amount of 300 million cedis to pay compensation for the 20,000 acre land acquired for the project.
It is not for staff compensation. It is an operational thing. It is for compensation for crops and properties on the land that government is acquiring. So we need to pay the people who have crops and who have to be resettled as quickly as possible. And that is not all, but that is the most urgent requirement for us to kickstart the activities at the hub.
He said the $12 billion project, when completed, will house refineries, oil storage facilities, an eco park, among others.
At the enclave, which will be the first in Africa, the first with that full effect in Africa and West Africa in particular. Now the enclave would have to build 2 jetties and harbor infrastructure. It will also have to help build 3 refineries, 5 petrochemical plants, and storage tank, the tank farms or storage tank for fuel.
Reacting to the ongoing Iran-Israel war and its threat to global crude prices, the minority has called on government to increase allocation to the various agencies to improve their work and boost domestic oil reserve.
And just the announcement of the escalation, you all saw what happened to the crude prices. Overnight, it went above $70. If it continues this way, we should expect it to go even higher. What is the implication of that to us, especially when we have to import almost all our finished product into the country? That is obviously going to have an effect on us. I mean, GMPC was very clear. They need a lot of investors.
NPA boss Godwin Hedujitamaklo has indicated that there is a 2-month oil reserve to cushion the country in the short term. The Energy Committee is expected to conclude its work and forward a final report to plenary for Parliament's intervention. James Aveji, Senchi, Eastern Region.
And we're also now learning TOR's debt has now ballooned to a staggering $570 million. Listen to the MD, Edmond Combat.
So the debt that we came to meet, which is undergoing verification, was 517 million United States dollars as at close of December 2024. We are doing that verification, and as I mentioned, once we do that verification and authentication of what we have been able to bring down, that will be communicated publicly.
Now, what occasion is that?
So what occasion it was trade debts, sometimes third parties, and then there were also debts that legacy debts where crude was supplied, it was not paid. There were times that the Ministry of Finance in the past had given some funds to TOR. Some of it, for example, was grants, and then when they entered into the IMF asked them to reclassify it as debt. So those things have accumulated to that amount of money, and I think the last time TOR traded, some of the trades were not hedged, so there was a lot of exposure who led to a lot of debt ballooning. But we are here to make sure that that is stopped and it's not repeated again.
And that is the new MD of TOR, Edmond Combat. I will hear from you pretty shortly, and share those of you who've shared your thoughts with us. Share your messages with the rest of the world pretty shortly. 05511119997. It's now time for business, and James Oshan is here with the latest.
Evans, coming up in business tonight, some Ghanaian businesses plying their trade in Israel expressed concern about the potential increase in freight charges due to ongoing conflict in the Middle East. And the National Insurance Commission said to roll out reforms targeted at the agri sector to attract more support for farmers. Business News on Newsnight is brought to you by MTM Business. Welcome to the new world of business. Kingdom Books and Stationery, your number one stop shop for all office essentials, Syntex tanks, and Pepsodent Herbal and Charcoal. Welcome back to Business on Newsnight. I am James Ishan. Let's settle for the details now. First off, some Ghanaian businesses operating in Israel have expressed concerns about the potential rise in freight charges due to the escalating conflict between Israel and Iran. With tensions between the two nations on the rise, shipping costs are expected to surge, posing significant challenges for businesses that rely heavily on import and export. Speaking to Joy Business, President of GUTA, Joseph Obin, said some of its members are worried about the impact of these rising costs on their operations and profitability.
The only problem that is going to affect us is the freight charges and the prolonged delivery of our goods, because most of these shipping lines are going to reroute, because if care is not also taken, the Strait of Hormuz is also going to be closed, and most of the essential cargo come from this corridor also, and that's why we do not seek the escalation of this war, but rather pray to the leaders of the world, the UN and all that, United States, to find ways to bring ceasefire and find a dialogue or a political solution to this problem.
You heard President of GUTA, Joseph Obin, there speaking. And now, government has called on foreign partners to consider investing in the petrochemical manufacturing sector. Delivering a keynote address at the Ghana-China Business Summit, Chief of Staff Julius Debre explained that Ghana's port facilities and its location make it ideal for a manufacturing hub. He added that government is committed to creating the enabling environment to promote business growth.
What the president has in mind is that we want to encourage as many Chinese manufacturers as possible to possibly consider having assembly plants or having new entities established in Ghana. That way, you're solving the distance problem all the way from China to the market. You get closer to the market, where you also be permitted to export to the entire West African zone. There are varied areas where investment opportunities will be encouraged, from petrochemicals to housing, automobile, EVs, tourism, and what have you.
That was Julius Debre, the Chief of Staff. Now to the insurance sector. The National Insurance Commission has revealed plans to set up an agriculture insurance fund to aid the introduction of tailor-made agriculture insurance products. Acting Commissioner of Insurance, Dr. Abiba Zakaria, emphasized that developing that solutions, especially in that area of agriculture, will be crucial to expand the country's economy. Dr. Zakaria spoke at the commissioning of the Ghana Insurance Association's new head office in Accra.
We are also investing in agricultural risk management through the establishment of the Agricultural Insurance Fund and plans to expand coverage across the entire agricultural value chain. Through these initiatives, the Commission aims to create a more accessible, inclusive, and responsive insurance ecosystem, aligned with our broader national developmental goals and the evolving needs of the Ghanaian population.
Dr. Abiba Zakaria is the Acting Commissioner of Insurance. The next Joy Business Economic Forum will be held on June 25, 2025 on the topic Ghana at Risk, the economic fallout of distant conflict at 9 a.m. on the JoyNews channel. The following report has more details.
The in-studio program is in response to the geopolitical instability in the Middle East as a result of the conflicts between Iran and Israel. The program will assess the effects of the war on global crude prices and the impact on prices of petroleum products at the pumps in Ghana. In addition, the forum will explore how these developments will impact the energy sector, inflation, and economic growth, offering insights into mitigating risks and capitalizing on opportunities. The panel will include economist Professor Godfrey Bokpin, President of the Association of Ghana Industries, Dr. Humphrey Eyim-Dake, and Senior Partner of AB and David Ofosu-Dorte. The program will be moderated by the head of Joy Business, Winston Amoah. The program will also be live on all Joy Business socials.
And that was a news desk report. And now, the Ashanti region is expected to become Ghana's hub of aviation excellence and luxury in the coming years, following the start of construction works to develop a modern and sustainable airport city in Kumasi. The project is expected to be completed in not more than 2 years to boost economic activities in the region while fostering convenience for visitors, home and abroad. Founder of HDG Homes, the leading company of the project, Stephen Owosu, said the project will redefine the living experience in Kumasi and accelerate economic growth in the Ashanti region.
So our vision is to create a city with roads that are done, with pavements where you can walk. My favorite is to be able to walk on the road and not share the road with a car. We are going to have gutters that are all underground, just like you see overseas. Our roads are going to have clearly marked areas for bike. Yes, there will be bike lanes at the Kumasi Airport City. And as you can imagine, there's going to be a lot of greens and a lot of trees, and you will see it all around you. We are going to make sure that we plant a lot of trees and a lot of greens all around us. This used to be the garden city of Ghana, and we want to bring that back.
Stephen Owusu is the founder of HDG Homes. And that's all for business on Newsnight with me, James Evans.
James, thank you very much. A few of your messages on WhatsApp console now, and this says the politics happening in NPP is a cause for worry if not managed properly. Right now, their job is to offer a clear and well thought out alternative for Ghana's problem. All these they are doing now does not augur well for our development. They should rather concentrate on rebuilding their party towards unity. Daniel sent us that one from East Legon. George in Malangbawi says Dr. Baumia and the MPP need to be very careful of the disrespectful loose talk that we hear from some of the spokespeople. Musa says, Evans, the MPP's internal conflict is unlikely to end soon due to self-centered actions by key figures. He says tribal, ethnic and religious sentiments have become the order of the day. This one from Courage in Agloga says, all the NEC is doing seems to be just about bringing Dr. Baumia. Why aren't they conducting elections on the grassroots to the top before selecting a flag bearer? Nana says Dr. Baumia remains a formidable candidate to defeat the NDC. It will be politically unwise to present new candidate for 2028 general elections. Kwesi Kwarteng should spare us. Sherry says the assertions by some potential contestants of the MPP presidential elections that it's skewed to favor Dr. Baumia is a sign of defeat on their part. Dr. Baumia is the most marketed candidate and the party has invested heavily in him. It's only prudent the MPP elect him for easier victory in 2028. Samin Kumase says, is the MPP learning something from what led to its heaviest defeat in the 2024 elections? A collapse of the MPP is very imminent if proper measures are not taken to curb this premature public endorsement of one of the will-be candidates by some leading figures of the party. A few of your comments there on our WhatsApp platform. Let's do sports now, and Krantik here with the latest.
Now, the communications director of Accra Hearts-of-Oak, Kwame Opare-Addo, says the club is working around the clock to resolve their issues with New Edubiasi United over the $70,000 transfer saga. The Phobians have been handed a transfer ban in relation to the issue with their Division 1 side after they missed the final deadline to comply with a directive to pay $70,000 to Edubiasi for the transfer of Salim Adams.
This is an issue that is being resolved. And I can say that when it is eventually resolved, even New Edubiasi themselves will testify to it that it is resolved. So it is an issue that is being resolved. The two parties are in constant touch to make sure that it is fully resolved. It's a decision from the FA, so you must respect it. And then also deal with the club as well. There's constant communication between Hearts-of-Oak and New Edubiasi. That is why I said that it is being resolved.
Kwame Opare-Addo is the spokesperson or communications director for Accra Hearts of Oak. Now, former Zimbabwean swimmer Kirsty Coventry officially took over the leadership of the International Olympic Committee in a ceremony earlier today. She officially starts work tomorrow in her 8-year spell as the most powerful sports administrator in the world. She became the first woman and first African to be elected head of the Olympic ruling body back in March. Coventry is expected to continue the IOC's plans to expand commercial opportunities for sponsors at the Olympics with the organization's finances in a robust state. That's all for sports. Back to you, Matt.
Thank you very much, Krantik. Still live your news tonight on Joy 99.7 FM. Government has imposed a 1-month ban on fishing, especially if you are involved in industrial trawling or semi-industrial onshore vessels that are engaged in fishing on our high seas. It's going to be from July 1 to 31st July 2025. The move is part of an annual fisheries management measure, which forms part of the government's effort to safeguard the sustainability of Ghana's marine resources and ensure the long-term health of the fisheries sector. Well, the minister has been addressing the media today, and she's been laying out the plan. The minister responsible for fisheries and aquaculture, Amelia Arthur, says, however, that canoe fishermen will be exempted from this year's ban.
This annual fisheries management measure forms part of government's efforts to safeguard the sustainability of Ghana's marine resources and ensure the long-term health of the fisheries sector, which plays a vital role in food security, economic development, and employment for millions of Ghanaians. In line with established timelines, industrial trawlers will observe a 2-month close season from 1st July to 31st August 2025. Semi-industrial inshore vessels will observe a 1-month closure from 1st to 31st July 2025. These measures are consistent with Ghana's national fisheries strategy and best practices for sustainable resource management aimed at replenishment and regeneration of fish stocks in our oceans.
Well, that is exemption that will happen. The minister, however, asked the artisanal fishers to comply with other traditional and statutory fishing regulations.
Marine canoe artisanal fishers are exempted from observing the 2025 closed season. However, this exemption does not absolve artisanal fishers from complying with other traditional and statutory fishery regulations. All canoe fishers are reminded to continue observing Tuesday or whichever day is designated as fishing holidays as part of traditional management practices under the supervision of the Fisheries Commission's regional offices and the respective metropolitan, municipal, and district assemblies all year round. All fishers are strongly urged to refrain from engaging in illegal, unreported, and unregulated fishing practices, such as light fishing and the use of harmful chemicals or explosives, which not only endanger marine ecosystems, but also pose risks to human health and threaten the livelihoods of coastal communities.
Well, we're hearing from the Canoe and Fishing Gears Owners Association. They are demanding better engagement and broader consultation to make the close season more effective. Listen to the president of the association, Nana Kweja.
Fishers have expressed concerns over the years since the implementation of the closure of the socio-economic implications of the closure and the fact that the implementation appears not to be effective enough because of how issues about illegal fishing practices have been approached, making the whole implementation of the closure not very effective. And in addition to this, socio-economic implications on small-scale fishers, which probably were not factored into the implementation plan, and for which reason the fishing communities have over the years called for
suspension of the closure or a review of its implementation. That is why I'm saying that we are looking forward to much deeper engagement on the closure so that we can contribute to making its implementation effective.
And that there is the president of the Canoe and Fishing Gears Owners Association. Now, 3 days, hundreds of patrons, dozens of vendors, and one powerful message. Home ownership dreams are within reach. The EcoBank JoyNews Habitat Fair Clinic at the Achimota Retail Center wrapped up on a high note, and it was filled with energy and satisfaction for many who attended. From exclusive discounts to expert guidance, attendees say the experience exceeded expectations. Now, vendors too are beaming as their goals were met. Jacqueline Asomayeboa brings you the highlights.
These metal doors on the second end, oh my goodness, they're absolutely wonderful.
Throughout the weekend, the fairgrounds buzzed with excitement as foot traffic steadily grew. Patrons came with diverse goals, some in search of land, others seeking interior design inspiration, and many simply eager to learn. But they all left with one thing in common, a deep sense of satisfaction.
Oh, it's actually been amazing. I mean, they've been friendly enough. One lady actually assisted me. I was actually dragging me to download an app and buy one of their services, and I think it's a good thing.
Amazing. When I was driving through, I heard they were interviewing few reps here, and it was interesting. I've visited few stands.
These metal doors on the second end, oh my goodness, they're absolutely wonderful because you can protect yourself.
They have interesting offerings, so I think I encourage everyone to come here and,
I was about to tell you that you should tell the camera that whoever is not here should make it here.
Yeah. So make it here before 6.
Returning and first-time exhibitors say this edition brought in genuine buyers, great visibility, and strong leads.
As the day goes by, we get more people coming in to do more requests. So today has been a very busy day for me. As you can see, I'm sweating profusely on my face. Yeah.
It's been amazing getting more customers there. It's so nice. So we look forward in partnering with you people for long, because we wouldn't have come this time around if we are not soliciting or getting any good something in return. It has been a massive change since we partnered with Joy Prime.
Head of marketing at the multimedia group, Max Fuga, says the success of the Achimota Clinic is only the beginning.
The next clinic will be next month at the Accra Mall. From the Accra Mall, we are going to Tema. From Tema, we are going to Koforidua, which is a new addition this year. And then the main fair will take place in August at the Accra International Conference Center.
As the lights dim on the Achimota edition, one thing is clear: the path to affordable, comfortable, and luxurious living is just getting started. Jacqueline Ansomayebo's report read to you.
Well, more than 2.2 million girls in Ghana are set to receive free vaccination against HPV, the human papillomavirus, a deadly virus responsible for most cervical cancer and other various infections. Health workers leading the fight say they are deeply alarmed by the rising infection rates among both men and women, with some extreme cases resulting in severe genital damage, including rotting tissue in the vagina and penis. In the following report, head of our health desk, Fred Smith, takes a closer look at the devastating impact of HPV and what you can do to protect yourself.
HPV, or human papillomavirus, is a highly contagious and common virus, primarily spread through oral, vaginal, and anal sex, as well as deep kissing. It is the leading cause of cervical cancer in women and is also linked to anal, penile, vaginal, vulva, and throat cancers, particularly through oral sex. Ruth Katamanso, a women's health nurse specialist at the Shai Osudoku District Hospital in the Greater Accra region, is on the front lines of the fight against HPV in her district.
The HPV virus is a virus that causes genital warts and other cancers such as the penile cancers, the anal cancers, the oropharyngeal cancers, among others.
Doctors warn that HPV often presents no symptoms for years, making it dangerously easy to spread. When symptoms do appear, especially in women, they may show up as small skin-colored warts or bumps around the vagina, often accompanied by a foul-smelling discharge. For men, the risks can be even more severe when they engage in sexual activity with infected partners. Ruth Katamanso explains.
Let's take the penile cancers for instance. Nowadays, men engage in sexual activities without protection, and then they always want a woman to be so tight. And you know that when you are having sex with someone and the person is so tight, there is friction, and you are bound to have some bruises on your genital organ. When this woman has this HPV virus, he can easily transfer it to you, the man. And we don't have any screening tool for men to detect whether they have the HPV virus or not. So this virus stays in your body, persists for 10 to 15 years, and then it will give you the penile cancer.
Experts recommend routine pap smears, HPV testing, and safe sex practices, including condom use and limiting sexual partners to reduce the risk of infection. Most importantly, doctors say the HPV vaccine can prevent up to 90% of HPV-related cancers. It is most effective when administered to preteens, but also beneficial for adults up to age 45. Fred Smith for JoyNews.
And that's it for JoyNews News Night tonight, and enjoy the rest of your evening.